Welcome back. This is Michael Levitas from JurisQ Legal Network. And what we do is we bring you attorneys from different spheres to answer frequently asked questions on their practice area. And today we're fortunate enough to have with us Stephen Yuniver. Stephen, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm glad to be back.
Thank you. And of course, you are a partner in Sinayskaya Yuniver. You're a firm that is multifaceted. But today we're going to talk about commercial real estate, because that's really a bulk of what you do. You have a lot of experience in it. And a very important component of purchasing a property or getting involved in the project is making sure you have a right contract between you and your partners, between you and the other members of an LLC. And correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, that contract, that agreement is called OA. Operating agreement. It governs the conduct between the partners and what happens in the good case scenario and what happens in the bad case scenario. Both are equally important to be prepared for, right? Because Stephen, by the way, I always say you have disputes in the best of times and the worst of times, unfortunately.
That is correct.
Yeah. And those agreements are lengthy. You told me before we started, usually an agreement could be 70 pages. I've seen even some that are 100 pages. There's a lot of information in it to review, and that's why you have to have an attorney review it. But Stephen, what are the main clauses that you look out for, that you want to particularly review with the client and amend if need be?
So I kind of joke around when clients come in opening up a new business, and I basically say you need an agreement. You can't just have a handshake. They're kind of like prenups.
Good point.
You guys are investing a lot of money and creating a business together. You want to make sure that you know what you're expecting. The most important parts are basically an operating agreement is just one form of it. There's shareholder agreement, partnership agreement, but really it's just an agreement between you and your partners,
right?
And or investors. The major thing is the managing partner member's duty. What are they going to be doing? How are they getting paid? What authority do they have? I had one agreement that said that the managing member or manager would be able to sell all of the properties without any kind of influence.
Wow.
And another agreement another agreement that said every check has to be approved by at least 4 other members. So it depends, and that's all negotiable, but those are really the most important points. And unfortunately, something that we hate talking about, but what happens when in a horrible situation where one partner passes away? Do their family members get it? Or in a divorce, what happens? These aren't the agreements that you have with the family, but the families will be able to use these agreements in order to figure out how their interests are protected as well.
You bring up a very solid point. Nobody wants to talk about or think about worst case scenario. People want to think about happy things. What nice new car I'm going to buy? What nice new apartment in Miami I'm going to buy? People don't want to think, oh, what's going to happen, God forbid, in event of a death. But it's part of life, so you have to be prepared for it at any age. And it's not just for you. This is actually for your family to make sure that they are rightly compensated and make sure that they get what is theirs in event of a death. Stephen, and speaking of happy thoughts, I've seen that some people, they get into a project, they're excited, there's a rush, there's a fear of missing out, let's get in the project, let's invest money, and then they say, we're going to do the agreement later, we just buy this property, and then we'll go back to attorney afterwards, months into it, and then we're going to form an agreement. Can you talk about that? What are the dangers of that?
So the dangers of it is you're entering into a relationship and you're investing sometimes millions or as little as thousands of dollars, but time, energy, thought, and then you can trust each other with one thing and then just be confused because you're not on the same page. You bought a property and all of a sudden we decided to rent the property instead of build the property. You entered into a printing business, and instead of printing, you're printing t-shirts instead of papers. These are all, there's very minute details, but also at the end of the day, Who's going to get paid what? How are we going to get paid? These are things that just get outlined. The other thing that's most important about agreements, and I think this is one of the major things that everybody should get one, in order to open up a bank account, most banks require you to have an operating agreement. They want to
Okay,
know
okay.
that the money that they're putting in their bank accounts into the bank is going to be protected, and they're not going to
Mhm.
start fighting and be drawn into litigation.
Interesting. Okay, that's a very good point. And also, I've seen by financing, if you want to get a loan or a refi, they also a lot of times require an operating agreement to review.
I would say I can't say all across the board, but I can say I've never seen any bank give
Right.
money without an operating agreement.
Yeah. You know, you actually brought up a very good point about getting into a business. You think it's one thing, then you pivot to something else. You had a meeting on the minds with your investors, with your partners. Then turns out is not everything is what it seems. I want to have a whole session with you next time permitting, about doing business with friends, with relatives, as opposed to doing business with strangers, because that more often than not, people go into business with their friends. But quite often, what starts off as a friendly relationship could very quickly escalate into something hostile if people are not on the same page. And I think it's important to be protected no matter how friendly you are. So let's hold that thought. I think it's a good topic and a controversial topic that we like to
I
discuss.
definitely have a lot of thoughts on it. Looking forward to speaking to you on it.
Excellent, definitely. Okay. Again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate that you are actually spending your time to educate people, because we know how busy you are. Sometimes it takes me a while to get hold of you because you're in courts, you're with clients, you're a busy attorney, but you still make time for these sessions to educate the people. If anybody has specific questions, though, you have to call the office. The phone number is on the bottom of the screen. Ask for Steven Yuniver. He will surely get back to you, because he does get back to me, and discuss your particular problem or issue. Thank you. Have a great day.